It was exactly 1 year ago that Ruth Davidson invited me into her office and said, "I'd like you to join my shadow cabinet as the shadow cabinet secretary for communities and social security." I paused and thought, that's going to be a difficult 2 years. Difficult 2 years because the SNP think we're on the back foot when it comes to welfare benefits. I can tell you right now, we are not on the back foot. The Conservative UK government delivered one of the biggest changes in welfare, not because they just fancied it, not because they had an ideology, but because Labour had broken the system. We were in trouble as a country, as a United Kingdom, and it had to change. Universal credit came into being, and yes, it's had its problems, but it is making an enormous difference. We are getting a nation back to work. We are giving opportunity to young people. We in Scotland want to have that tiger economy that Murdo Fraser talked about yesterday. We want to ensure that Scotland is a great nation, a nation of young people that go to school, get the education that they deserve, are able to fulfill their opportunities, get a job at the end of it, and not be limited by their background, by their education of their parents, or by their lack of aspiration. The social security system is a safety net, but it should be, at every juncture, a springboard for people who need help. I believe that's what we're delivering, and I believe strongly, not because I was asked to be the Shadow Cabinet for Social Security, but because I have spent 35 years working in health and social service. I know what goes on the ground. I know how difficult it is when you live in a family where there are no books, where nobody's ever worked, where the expectation is that what you really need to know is how to claim your benefits. But for people who really need them, quite often they are proud, they are embarrassed, they are nervous. We have a government in this country that puts out messages that says, be afraid to go and ask for help. Be afraid that you won't be treated decently. What kind of government does that? What kind of government makes people afraid to go and get help that is there for them? If nothing else, that is the reason in 2021 we need a government that is compassionate, is caring, but more than anything is capable. And it begins with a C. Every word begins with a C, and the end product begins with a C. Conservatives, we are the people who really care, because we look at the evidence, we look at the people, we look at what's really going on. We're not making political points. We're not talking about political ideology. We're talking about making a difference. We're talking about making sure that every single person gets the opportunity they need, they get the education they need, they get the health care that they need, and they get that safety net that should be there for them. Now, I talk to a lot of people, and I've travelled up and down the country. I have visited the job centres, I have visited the food banks, and that's a really interesting experience. And I say to all of you, don't be afraid to go to food banks. Don't let them think that you don't have a right to help people, that somehow you should feel wrong for doing so. Because when I go into food banks, I hear very, very interesting stories. And they are not the same stories that I hear in Parliament. Because I can tell you something, most of the people I speak to in food banks are suffering because of legacy benefits, not the benefits that are being delivered now, the new ones that are rolling out. So we have a job to do. There are changes that need to be made, but universal credit provides that flexibility. We have a government that is responding to need. We have a Scottish government who, when they got the benefits devolved for them, they have only delivered 2% of what was offered. An Audit Scotland report on Thursday showed us quite clearly they are frightened, they are incapable. They now have a system that isn't going to deliver by 2021. They'll be lucky if it delivers by 2024. We are going to call them out strongly on that over the next few weeks. You need to keep your eye on the ball. You need to back us. You need not to lose faith, because in 2021, the best thing for Scotland is to put Ruth into Butte House, to vote Conservative and not to lose faith with us, because we care, we're compassionate, but more than anything else, we are capable. Thank you.